later versions of Star Trek had a lot of recurring characters, but not so much in the original series, although had it survived much longer, I think this would have occurred in a few avenues. Perhaps other characters that we did get to see might have come back, but one did, and that, of course, was Harry Mudd. Now, this is the sort of follow-up appearance to him. I tend to like the original one first. This one has some interesting aspects to it with the androids and whatnot, but it's played almost entirely for laughs. And Harry Mudd's a comical character, but on the other hand, there is a very sinister edge to him. That was completely ruined in recent versions of him, but yeah. Anyway, so a mysterious officer appears on the Enterprise and suddenly takes it over, and they discover, oh no, he's an android, because he lifts his shirt up and just happens to have a panel right there in his stomach. It says, look, my technology. So, and then after taking over, they're trapped on their own ship, and then he takes a nap for a couple of days, standing there in the bridge, and they go to this planet. They beam down, and lo and behold, oh, it's Harry Mudd. He was behind it all. Harry Mudd had been in some scheme or another, ended up crashing on this planet and discovering all these androids that had been created by some other race, and so there they were, with nothing to do, but they wanted to serve Harry, or so it seemed. And Harry immediately goes about manufacturing female robots that look like a certain type of woman that he's got the hots for, and he just makes a bunch of them. But we also meet Harry's wife, or at least a robotic version of her. And he just has one of her made up just so he can tell her to shut up. You can understand why he despises his wife in this one. You really couldn't in the new show, because his wife was absolutely gorgeous in the new show. And they're just so stupid. So anyway, here Harry intends to take the Enterprise from Kirk with some androids and leave them trapped on the planet below with the androids. And he says, don't worry, I'll take care of you. And there's all kinds of fascinating technology down there and all kinds of interesting things that they could learn and whatnot, but they would be stuck on the planet. They even offer immortality in the form of having your brain transplanted into an android body, and Uhura seems taken with this and all that. Well, Kirk's not going to have any of that, because all he cares about is being on the Enterprise. So, of course, they have to come up with a plot to beat the androids. Harry, of course, is ready to take on the ship, and then the androids suddenly just say, "Nah, you're not going. You're going to stay here, because humans need our guidance, and we're just going to take the Enterprise ourselves and take over the galaxy and guide all the humans and probably the other humanoid beings and whatnot of the galaxy under their guidance and whatnot." Don't think that would go very far. I'm sure the Klingons and Romulans would probably wipe them out. But anyway, so now Harry's like, oh, damn it. It backfires on him. So, of course, they conspire together to counter them. And ultimately, it always ends the same way. There's the logic trick that they do with the androids, and they do each one of them. All the other androids are rather simplistic. They're routed through one main android, and that's the one who actually lured them there to begin with. So he's the one they ultimately have to defeat, and of course they do, with simple, putting on bizarre performances that they don't understand. And then eventually it just fries their brain. A literal smoke comes out. And that's it. So, it's a fun episode. It's rather silly. There's this where Kirk, of all people, tries to criticize Mudd for having these beautiful women made up for his entertainment. Kirk, who are you fooling? That's what you would do. And he says, well, you don't have any men, do you? And he says, well, I guess they have some uses, but he hasn't bothered to make any new ones, Boy, I got to tell you, as far as the men go, I kind of wish they'd have stayed in the Starfleet unit, because the guy comes back and he changes into these white tights, and it's not a pretty sight. But well, they're androids; they don't know. So anyway, and of course, what do to torment Harry Mudd, to punish him for what he's done? They trap him on the planet. With, I don't know, hundreds of android copies of his wife, and he's no longer able to tell her to shut up. I mean, that's just, I mean, the death penalty would have been more humane, you know. So, the poor bastard, which you can imagine, had the show survived, he probably would escape that and show up again. Probably, you know, I mean, that one could have been a more sinister episode, in that he would want, you know, some revenge, because, good Lord, talk about a torturous end for him there. But we never see him again, you know. He's the type of guy that you could have weaved in stuff like when the Doomsday Machine ended, and we're like, hey, you know, the Federation would have had to go cart that thing away, you know, because, you know, someone could reignite it and use a deadly weapon that destroys planets. And what if some idiot like Harry Mudd got involved in that and was trying to sell it off to the highest bidder and stole it, you know? But anyway, you know, things like that. Any number of things could have exploited with those stories, but it just didn't happen because the show didn't survive. But yeah, Harry Mudd is the one recurring character for Star Trek that had it survived, there probably would have been more, and I'm pretty sure there would have been a third episode for Harry. But I still think the first one is a little better than this one. Although, you know, androids are interesting because, boy, they don't look like Data, do they? They look really human. But that being said, they're not as sophisticated as Data, I don't think. And they're so easily defeated in a lot of ways just through the logic trick that they do. This recurred. I mean, they did it to the Changeling and all that. So you can argue that, well, Dr. Sung just wasn't that good at stylistically and skin tone and eye color, but everything else, yeah, he was really good at. So anyway, so there you go. I Mudd, Harry Mudd. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for watching and listening. Why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.